I kind of inherited the maker from my grandfather, who was also a maker. He would build altars for the church and furniture, and he was a woodworker. And when I went off to college to be a woodworker and maker of sculpture, he gave me some of my earliest tools. So this is kind of a tradition in my family a little bit, but it's something that I just knew I had to be a maker, a builder of instruments, something that would outlive me, you know, that would go on and make music for generations after me. Back when I started in the early 70s, there was really no way to learn guitar making. It was really, something that you had to pick up on your own. There were no schools. Now there's schools all over the place. We build guitars from reclaimed lumber from these old New York City buildings. The materials I use are so much better than like lumberyard wood. So the wood I get now from these old buildings has been indoors for 170 years, but it also came from old growth trees that were like 400 years old. So that's a real plus, is the wood is so seasoned and old. I got wood from one of the oldest speakeasy over on Bedford Street. It's called Chumley's, and it was a speakeasy during Prohibition, one of the most famous. And it's a lot of work pulling nails, but I call it the bones of old New York because it's the bones of these old buildings. It's what makes up the structure, and it's just the best material you could get. The wood that I use is very similar to the wood that Stradivarius used in his violins. He used pine for the soundboard. The soundboard is the most important part of a musical instrument. It's what creates the vibrations that transmit into sound. Usually I spend about a week on a guitar right now, and I do about 4 a month. And it starts off with just the rough wood, and I lay a masonite template that I use and outline it, cut it on the bandsaw. Then it proceeds to the pin router, where all the outline and the plunging of the pickup cavities and control cavities are done. And then I do the same procedure for the neck. The neck is cut on the pin router, the outline, and then the frets have to be cut into it. And then it's an assembly process after that of getting all the parts. About 7, 8 years ago, I got an apprentice. She wanted to learn how to build instruments, and she's been here ever since, and now she's going on her own almost, making her own line of guitars here. And she works here, and my mom, 93-year-old Dorothy out there, does all the books for the business. I think, if somebody was starting off and they wanted my advice, I would say talk to your landlord, get to know them as a person, if they're interested. Most landlords don't want to know their tenants so that they can just throw them out when they want to. But if you can find somebody who will actually talk with you and work with you, and you're way better off trying to get a long-term lease with someone who's friendly and supports what you do and wants to give it a try with you. I just love that Lou Reed became a friend of mine, and Patty Smith and her children also come by the shop, and I've made guitars for them. And it's amazing to think that I would actually become friends with these people and make guitars for them. And I want my guitars to be out there played by musicians, not to be owned by collectors who hang them on the wall. It's more preferable for me to build instruments that are custom made for the player.